Okay, today we're gonna start with something out of the ordinary. We're gonna let Road and Bridge go first today, since they always go last, and they're always so nice about it. So it's not gonna take long for us just to say no, so.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to go first, by the way. My last name has kept me in the back of the line my whole life. So today's history.
I'm kidding, so I'm there with you, buddy. So.
Thank you.
Change it around.
There you go.
Judge, as we get started, Carrie, on that first page, will you just help us where we're at? Yes.
Okay, the revenue that is in your proposed budget line item is, as far as taxes go, is the same as last year. Those have not been adjusted, but the others have been updated. The expenditures in this column are as requested from the departments with the salary increases, salary adjustments, or positions. And you see that our expenditure requests are 3.8 million above what the revenue is. This column over here, which I have titled proposed, this is the same information with a few changes that the judge has made, but the biggest difference is all the new positions and all the salary adjustments have been taken out. And that takes you down to 2.3 million short of balancing the budget.
That makes you feel any better?
It does.
And I'm sorry, just a quick, is there equipment wrapped into that 2.3? There's some things in there already?
There is, this total right here, the 1.5 million is.
Okay.
Okay.
Will be on page 160.
160.
Okay, Sebastian, go ahead, tell us what you want, 2 new employees?
2 new employees and some equipment. The 2 new employees, as you know, I've asked for before because, as we all know, the county's growing. We're having new additions everywhere. The scope of work, as far as patching and cleaning ditches and everything else, is always increasing and never stops. And at the moment, we have 10 employees on the road crew itself. And if somebody calls in sick, well, the other day, matter of fact, our chip spreader operator called in sick, so Donnie had to run the chip spreader. We drew straws and he lost. So he had to run the chip spreader all day. It's just, if somebody takes a vacation or calls in sick, and we usually don't let them take vacation while we're seal coating for that fact. But he just happened to call in sick and we had to do what we had to do to get it done. And I suggested that we take the summer truck driver positions, which would help offset some of that cost of the new employees. You could delete those 2 positions because it's hard to get somebody to come to work for us for the summer anyway with CDLs. We're having so much of an issue with the CDL part of it. Even TxDOT is posting on their signs outside of town, if you ever notice, that they're, CDL drivers. And we tried something different. We hired some guys without their CDLs, and we thought we'd help them get their CDLs, but the DMV thought otherwise. They've made it so strict, it's hard to get them. I've had a guy taking his test now for almost 7 months, and he still can't pass. It's either one thing or another. One time they failed him because he didn't check the windshield wiper fluid correctly or go into enough detail about it. So it's really hard. You have to be exactly like she says in the book.
So the state is actually getting more stringent on.
Oh yeah, they started in October, getting real strict is what. I have a summer guy and he has his CDLs and he said he took it in October. And then everything after October, they have new regulations, I guess. So you have to state it exactly like it is in the book. If you don't, then they'll fail you. And he made it. He's been going 3 times, I believe, and he went Thursday and he failed again because I forget what the reason was, but he's gonna have to go back again tomorrow and try it again, because you have 90 days, I think, or 60 days to do it after you take all your written tests to pass the driving.
You almost have to be near perfect.
Oh, yeah, you have to be verbatim, that's what she told me. I went to talk to her because I was getting frustrated with all the failures. And she said it has to be verbatim in the book. And they have all these sections and they pick one section out and you have to explain it verbatim or they're gonna fail you, so. And that's the issue we're having with these employees, or finding somebody, and then if you got your CDLs, you can go to work for somebody else making 58,000 a year or more. So you have to find that certain person that's willing to work for us with the benefits and the retirement, so. And we've hired some older guys that are already retired, they work out just fine. But this morning I had news that one of my good employees is moving down south, so he put his 2 weeks in notice in. And he's 70 years old, but he is a working son of a gun. But, yeah, he's
As long as
leaving.
you said for a senior citizen.
Yeah. But yeah, he's
Sorry,
leaving.
what you might be getting.
I'm sorry, he's leaving.
So how many seasonal do you have right now?
We have 2 truck drivers and 5 mowers.
So you have 7 total.
Yeah,
And
7
you can do
total.
without 2 of those.
Well, the 2 truck drivers, they're seasonal, I mean, yes, I mean, we have 2 truck drivers.
But you're saying that you would give up the 2 road crew seasonal
Yes,
for 2?
to offset some of the cost of the full-time, because we barely hired one of them last week, truck drivers. And
What's the base pay for starting out?
as maintenance tech, it's 30, we raised 37.5, or,
35,697.
35,697 is the starting pay,
yes,
and you need 2 of those.
yes. And we could even, and the summer mowers, it's a little easier to get a summer mower, but then again, the quality of people you get sometimes, you know, you're getting people that have
They don't
experience.
last long.
Yeah, they don't last long, that's why we have so much employee items on the agenda.
Have you seen the tractors have no cab?
Yeah,
It is hot, that's.
yeah. Donnie interviewed somebody this morning and he said he didn't want to work with, it wasn't a closed cab, so.
Well,
there
let's
you
go
go.
buy some hats.
Yeah, we got plenty of those, and water.
We get more.
So Mary, how much, when Sebastian's talking about the 2 off of the road crew seasonal, but needing 2 employees, how many, I'm assuming they're in the, just a salary line item is where that money lives? How much is that
The temporary dollar, we're actually in the 76,000 right here.
in that overtime?
And we have about 25,000 in for budget for 2 seasonal.
This is a matter of debating that issue there. How much more is it for closed cab?
I've never even checked into it, we've always had open cabs. Yeah, it would have to have air conditioning. I've never even checked into it, because you'd have to have the air conditioning added into there and then the closed cab, and I have no idea.
But you have attention to those.
You know, and I spoke to Randall County about some things also, because they have 25 men working out there in Randall County. Yeah, 25 men, and they have more dirt roads, but I can't believe they got 5 different crews and 5 crew leaders, and we've got 2 crews and 10 men.
So you're talking for 2 new employees with the not hiring the two seasonal, it'd be about 50,000. I mean, adding the 25,000 to the salary, starting salary for the 2 crew rents.
And we could also move that down to 4 mowers, because usually we can't get 5 anyway. I hired one last week, I believe, 1 mower, so it's just hard to get people to stay, or even, they rotate in and out so much. 4 mowers is enough.
So what do you do if you can't get people to mow? I mean, what do y'all end up doing?
Whenever we take breaks in between seal coat, we'll have the full-time guys run out there and run every mower we have, so we can try to get it done as quick as possible.
So Carrie, how much is in that, overtime line item budget if we take out one of the mowers? I have 25 for the 2 off-road seasonal.
They're all budgeted at about 12,500.
Okay, so each position has a 12.5, okay. pay for one position roughly.
Right.
Salaries. What, Commissioner Church had that comment about, benefits, that number doesn't include benefits.
Correct. One position with benefits is 53,000.
Our benefit packages. Yes, yes. Go through this.
Yes.
53,583.
That's what it is. Okay, so the total for the total carry week for two new employees would be bottom line plus
107 less the 37.5 part-times plus the benefits on those, which would be about 25%. Actually, we need that right before 15% benefits because they don't get.
So it would add about, it would move, it just kind of moving that money around, 107,000 roughly. About 70,000 increase in that, those are just high level of numbers. To roll in the benefit package. That's a good call out, Commissioner.
Okay, so you need, let's go to your equipment. You and I talked about it that day, Connie and I talked about it in priorities. Priority number one is the skid loader.
Skid loader,
Skid
yes.
loader. Number two was the pothole patcher.
Yes.
Say that fast.
Yeah. Yes.
It's not the motor, I thought the motor grader was, didn't I have that right?
No.
Number three, okay.
Yeah. So the skid loader is 15 years old, and that's probably the best piece of equipment we've ever bought, because we didn't have one back in the day. We used a jackhammer to edge up them hose, and this came along, and whoever invented it was a genius, because you can just cut the hoe out, sweep it, shovel it, and then spray the emulsion and patch it. But we use this thing every day. If we're not seal coating and it's not raining or the weather's cooperating, we're using the skid loader and the Pro Patch. And the Pro Patch is what we put our hot mix in and keep it hot, and then it has a chute in the back where you just turn the lever on and it puts the hot mix out for us. So they work together, these two pieces of equipment. But we use them on a daily basis. If it's not raining, we're using that Pro Patch and that skid loader. It gets more use than anything in the whole barn.
And those two together around 200,000.
Roughly, yes.
Skid loader and
Yes.
then the.
And we will have a trade-in on those, and, we had the trade-in value, to knock it off a little bit, I believe, it was around 15,000 or so for the Pro Patch. And then, yeah. And the skid loader also, it'll get a trade-in value on it. We get to keep some of our attachments, which would come in handy. We have a post hole digger and some other stuff that we use on it, bucket, all that stuff we get to keep.
Do you know what a traded might be for the skid loader?
Yes, I have it. Something there. I believe it was around, I wanna say it was around 15 or 10, because I know the Pro Patch would get,
Get 15 on that.
yeah, that's what it says on that. I would think it would get more than that, because the truck is fine, it's the Pro Patch part of it, which is, beat up because we've had electrical issues with it, because they're two separate. The way they bid them is two separate items. The cabin chassis is one, and then the pro patch itself is another.
Question, is there any way that we could spend the money to repair what you need on that piece of equipment?
On the pro patch, well, that's the thing, we're having electrical issues with it, and it keeps breaking down on us, and then we have to send it to Kansas City to get it fixed. And we've only done that once where we couldn't fix it ourselves. We had to have one of the guys load it up on the haul truck and take it to Kansas City to fix it. And, some of that stuff, it's just, I don't know if it's beyond repair or what, but that electrical stuff, we just couldn't get it fixed. I mean, I don't know that we could do anything better other than buying the whole unit, the electrical unit of it. Because it's got electrical burners and stuff like that on it. It's got pumps and all kinds of stuff in there. I don't know that it would be cheaper to fix it or just to buy a new one. I think, the way we looked at it, it would be cheaper just to buy a new one.
Carrie, on your screen on column J, is that, I wanna make sure I'm following your headers. Is that in the budget? Is all this equipment already in that number?
It is.
Okay,
Anything that's in column F is what has been
Removed.
okay. And that, the 15,000 is just the trade-in that you're talking about, okay. So you're saying, Sebastian, that we could remove the motor grader, the loader, and the pickup, but keep in the pot holder and the skid loader?
Yes, those are the two priorities, the
Okay.
skid loader and pro patch. For 8 years, having that piece of equipment, I mean, we've really used it beyond its years.
Okay. And the pickup as well?
The pickup, yeah, I mean, that's so cheap, you could probably just go ahead and pass that through. For $38,000. I tried to say that as softly as I could.
We should save these quotes for the next.
I tried.
But the two new positions aren't in there yet.
I added them as some.
Okay.
You are so slick, that's so good.
We work good as a team.
I saw the education and travel line item, it looks like that
A little extra.
doubled.
Mhm.
Will you help me understand why?
We're gonna go to a conference, Donnie and I, in San Antonio, the TAC conference. So we wanted to use a little extra money there. We already paid for this year's, as far as the registration goes, and for this year's budget, we don't have to pay for our motel till we get there. That'll be next year's budget.
Okay,
So I was gonna add a little bit extra into there, so we could go the following year also. In 18, we can go again.
what's the conference?
They have equipment and then they go over all kinds of different stuff as far as asphalt and everything we do on a daily basis, they go over it. They have an agenda, just like everything. They go over specific safety stuff and stuff like that. A lot of information.
And where is the school?
It's in San Antonio.
And Carrie, will you scroll down just a little after the cell phone? I'm just kind of gonna see the budget all the way through.
I think everything else is the same.
Do we, still have a problem with storage tanks out there?
No, they're all gone. All the fuel, everything's gone.
12,000 if you're storage tanks.
Storage tank?
Storage tank expense.
No. Yeah, there's nothing. I don't have anything on there. Storage tank.
They were removed, right?
Yeah, they were there.
Yeah.
It's nothing but parking lot.
Okay, so that's out
That's
there.
out.
Yeah, that's
That'll help towards that pickup.
There you go. There you go.
No, not. Okay.
Yeah, just going back to that, education and travel, which Sebastian talked to me about them attending. And I really encouraged it because it's, something that we need to keep up.
Yes,
Our skill and agree on, so I'm glad that you're doing that.
Okay, so what with, it was 2 new employees and the 2 pieces of equipment, what does that bring us, this total to?
Dropped it to 2.4 million, but keep in mind that his equipment is budgeted in a different section. Right outside.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Anything else?
I think that's it.
We'll see what we can do, okay?
All right, thank you again.
Thank you, appreciate you guys.
You're welcome to be first.
Okay, now we're gonna do the constables because they cried. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He said he would bullet you.
Evictions?
What page, Karen, do you have that on it?
I'm off.
Oh, I know, yes.
Just because there's breaks down in 5 days.
You already have that in there. The card already figured it out. They're not gonna go there. Okay.
And we, took salaries back to where they were, is that right? So that'll be addressed later.
Yes. You all went up in your stationery and your uniforms, right?
Yes. That was our, I think our biggest increase, other than a new car for precinct.
Precinct 4, my uniform stayed the same. I'm still at.
Okay, you're stayed the same, okay. The stationery supply was up just a little bit.
Stationery.
Okay.
And I think they bumped up their communities stuff that they do. Their stuff to hand out to the kid and community functions. I don't have that in mind.
Precinct 2, the car, 24,578. Is that right?
I was gonna show us talking what the grant is, and I'm
Okay,
still,
so
that's
you're-
still pending.
The grant is pending, so this amount would depend on your grant.
Yes.
When will you know about that grant, Georgia?
Deadline is in September.
That's okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine, you're fine.
How much is the grant?
On top of that, so whatever's on there, I'm sorry, Commissioner, whatever the bill is on there, it's
570.
the exact same, it's happening now. The 50/50 match grant.
Carrie, where is that line item on the screen here? Mine just because Constable 2 for the 24,578.
Actually, it's in the projects. Budget. And we actually need to budget the full amount of the vehicle and then we have to offset.
Okay.
So the full amount of the control vehicle was how much, what you know, about
Full amount is 49,146.
That's about right. That's about what ours cost, was 47.
okay. And that's not including is that including the light bar and all that stuff, or you can take it off?
It's everything, the outfit, the vehicle plus outfit of the vehicle in and out, exterior and
Is
interior.
anything on the car you have work right now? I mean, light bar, anything that you can use and take off of it?
I have, actually, there's the lights in that vehicle right now, the Charger needs to be replaced, I'm holding off. The inside of the, which is the audio and video, I'm having some major issues with them. And you'll see, will not do a traffic stop with it, with that vehicle, I can't. Officer safety is
So you don't holler out the window?
yeah, I'm gonna stick to my red light, no, I don't. We're having some issues also with Cop Sync in the video program.
Okay.
So Constable Estrada, if you don't get the grant, then you won't be getting a car, or you're gonna review it at that time? No.
We'll review it,
Okay,
I'll bring it back to court.
either way, yes, ma'am.
So what are you thinking about the grant? You have good thoughts on it, or you good?
I'm, out of the 10, I'm 9, so it's gonna, I'm praying and hoping everything goes good, everything looks good. But I was getting the feedback from PRBC, Lori Gunn, and then, my representative at state, everything looks good, but it's just time.
I feel good for it because I hear every year they send money back because they don't use it all.
Okay.
Maybe we'll do it. And on her lights are old, they're probably over 10 years old. Maurice got them when he first got the car. It's being updated.
Plus they've been in water.
Yeah, they,
That'd be nice. I inherited this car.
Okay, is there anything else?
Just, this is just a small thing, Carrie, but there's a little bit of difference in, travel. Education and travel, even as it relates to the constables. I thought I saw one at 1,500, one at 1,000, one at 1,400. Is there,
25,
I see
what do you say,
25,000.
25,000?
one's at 25, two at, or 4.
I kept mine from last year, I didn't change it.
I didn't change mine, but they need more school, I mean, because they're still working to get to their advanced and master peace officer, and I already have mine. And they, you know, they just have more schools they go to than I do.
I think mine is 25. The reason why newly elected, and now we're gonna have, that ends the cycle. This, in August, in the cycle, a new cycle will start, we're gonna have 40 hours, and then our 20 hours coming up. And then I have a leadership conference I need to go to also, so mine will have to go, well, I'm requesting 2,500.
How many hours do you have to have? Absolutely have to have. What's the requirement?
They do
40.
40 cycle, and I think they mandated now that we have to start doing 20-hour civil school,
A year.
which we didn't used to have to do that.
Educational conference, state conference was in there, and that's why I kept mine at 2,000, that would cover pretty much everything for me, but for her, it's different, for her at 10.
You've already been to leadership constables, but she's going.
When I took office, I was left without anything, even in my Leos, there was nothing, it was wiped out. The constables here have built their Leos, which helps out with their travel and education, not mine.
So this is a one-time deal. Next year you won't have to do it, or next cycle you won't have to do leadership conferences.
The leadership, no.
Okay. And it's required right now. That's all, that's
It's
all.
recommended.
That's all I'm saying is that I just want you to do what's required of you to help us out here. So 25, and then 2,000 for this.
Constable Duvall's out of town, but I don't think he pushed his.
Yeah.
He's kind of like me, we're coming to the end, and
so his is at 14.
It does sound pretty fine.
Coming to the end, that's it.
yeah, he's coming to the end quicker than I am, but I'm not far.
Oh my
behind.
gosh, does he know that?
I'm talking out the door of the county, I'm not talking to the end.
You skip
Well, as he is, he might outlive all of us, so.
We're gonna take all these quotes down at the end, so that's how we'll end budget.
Come to the end of our career.
So, I have one at 1,400 and one at 1,000, do you think, or,
I believe, Constable Ball told us in the budget meeting that he needed some for his reserve, and I believe that's what his.
okay.
Yeah, but I've built up my Leos. The money that the state gives us every year, I've built mine up some, because I.
All of you have a reserve with you right now?
No, my two that I had previously didn't turn out, like I was expecting, so I'm still, so.
Okay.
I have one working on my second one, and the ball's got this almost up and running.
What about you?
I had one that I transferred it to precinct 1, transferred her to precinct 1 because of the need. I'm still looking.
Okay.
We're being very picky on those, we're just not gonna take. Somebody said we should hang up a sheet out of pancakes or applications accepted for reserves, but no, we wanna do who we know that, we know we can depend on. We ain't gonna just put somebody out there.
Okay, see what we can do. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I got it right here.
40 on. Yeah, we don't really have
Okay, Mike. Start talking.
Out of the, general items, or get into the building, we only had two areas that I had increased. One of them is janitor supplies. The reason being is we have several buffers that have just flat been worn out. Nicholas has went through and actually rebuilt some of them, but this, I'm looking at two of them, they're $800 a piece, so that is increased by $1,600 for our janitors. If we do have money left out of this fiscal year, what I'd like to do with the court's permission is to try to get them out of this budget year and take care of it. The next item is radio service. It's only a $200 increase, because that same account right there takes care of our pagers. We have an increase every year for our pagers. Actually, you had two reductions in that area. One of them was, of course, the storage tank expense. Since we do not have the road and bridge tanks anymore, buoy will be removed this fall. This right here will strictly be for the district courts. We still have 500-gallon tank over there. Fuel and oil, we actually reduced it by 6,000. We've been watching our usage, even though I drive back and forth to the project a lot. I guess by going to the cards, we was actually able to save some money this way right here, so that's why it's really.
Everybody's saying that, going to the phones and saying.
Really? That's good.
Is it your, I'm not sure. There you go, here.
It's done good for us.
So once we get that tank out of the buoy, don't follow that.
No, we still have the district court.
Where is that?
It's located by the, Fifth Street, the emergency exit door over in the little alcove. We've got a 500-gallon storage tank there for the, emergency generator.
Mike, on the courthouse fund, the 1405, the line item, just the first one, buildings, repair and maintenance, and what my eye is going to is the expenses moving across from year to year. So in 2014, we're at 45, in 2015, we're at 36, and now the proposed at 96, 94.
And Mike may not realize this, but he had in his project an annual roof maintenance. And because it is an annual project, I actually moved it here instead of
For the project.
instead of the project. So
But
that
we wouldn't have had an annual maintenance last year, and the year before, and the year before.
we're on the roofs now.
So what is changing that we need an annual maintenance this year, but didn't need one last year?
Following the question, you're on the courthouse, correct? And,
The building repair and maintenance line item,
okay, where I requested 79.8 on it. The question
Yes.
is,
well, Carrie added the 15,000 for the roof, so that's why the amount is probably different than what you requested, I'm guessing, that's what you're saying, right?
From your projects list, since it's a maintenance item, I moved it into that. It's your 79,890 plus the 15,000.
you just add 15 to it.
But my question is, as it relates to the growth, right, even without the 15,000, moving from 45 to, let's just say 80. I would expect that, we're still
Okay.
fairly new man, yeah.
I've kept these accounts the same, unless the project was added.
Well,
The same number that you're looking at right now for building repair, 79,890 is the same number I utilized last year.
But we just spent less, because this expenditure column is what we spent.
Of course, year to date, we did do a budget amendment of $33,000 to that account. The total encumbrances and what's actually been spent this year is $90,000.
is that because of the flood?
No, because that came out of the insurance.
We've had issues since, my previous assistant has left. We went through it, Nicholas and I have done a walkthrough through all county properties. There was things that I had presumed had been done, but granted they had not been. So we have been spending a lot of our building repair accounts this year, more since Nicholas has been here than we have in the previous years. Within our budget, I do build, I'm not for sure if y'all ever see how I break my budgets apart, I mean, per line item. If you want to turn to the courthouse, for example, I'm glad to explain.
Let's look at it just for a second. What page is it on in this book, you know? You don't have the numbers. Is it behind?
Going back to your first, second. Courthouse. See, it's course. Should be your next page. Courthouse.
So, all this stuff you have listed here was not done and you thought it was?
Well, no, let me take, for example, item A, annual fire alarm inspection, we put in $3,000 a year for that, that's repair and inspection.
Okay.
If we only spend 1,500 or 600, whatever it may be, the remainder of that money, Judge, goes back down into line item I, we just move it down. So Donna she runs a real good checkbook on this. What money we do not expend falls back down and gives us a very total of. I'm not for sure if y'all have ever seen this. I know Commissioner Kelly has, Commissioner Medina. This is how we break up each line item cost. That's how we don't spend that projection there, it goes down into the rest of the.
Eric, can I see the court building, which is from the?
Tell us about 15,000. And the courthouse, the roof or annual roof.
Back on the project. One thing that I've done, this is the first time we've looked at, and Judge Tanner, the number that's in here for this is by one local vendor. You had visited with another company. I've been in contact with them. I believe Nicholas has already had a walkthrough. So that number could change. Definitely we want the lowest of the numbers. Out of all of your roofs, we currently have TPO roofs on all of our buildings. These were basically due to the May 2013 hailstorm. What I'm looking at is to introduce this new program to come in where we bring in a contractor. Your first year is your most costly. That's 2 inspections, for example, the Santa Fe building. They come through, they inspect the roofs, they maintain the roofs, they clean everything that's up there to make them last longer. They'll do that 2 times a year. Okay, then it's a 3-year program, then your second year, and then your third year, it's over with. But each year, the cost continues to decrease because they have the expertise and they've been maintained. Does anybody have a question on the court's building? We kept it the same. Library, county extension. The only reason I had on my presentation reduced it because we had that $37,000 landscaping project we did out there. So this is back to the original planning, original operation.
Mike, I know that they were having trouble with their AC unit out there. I don't know if that's been
I
addressed.
did get your message and we addressed it, and Nicholas, I'm not sure if y'all looked at that yet.
They went out and, charged the unit, put some more refrigerant in it. And I think what they're hearing is a little bit of fan noise. I went out there Thursday or Friday, I can't remember, and spoke with Berta, and she said it was quieter now.
Okay.
But every now and again it rattles, and whoever's behind that office, they get to hear it. It's working, so do we
It's getting over.
Yeah.
do we put a new one in right now was my thinking, so, I don't want it to completely crash, but
But you don't want to spend the money if you don't need to.
No, sure, yeah, I just didn't know if it was, and I heard it, I mean, the day I heard it was pretty bad, I thought it was getting ready to go out, so that's the only reason I asked. Okay.
The parking lot, he's addressing.
The
it.
restriping,
Get-
the parking
Get
lot.
it taken care of. I can tell you all of the buildings are the same until we get to the last group of the buildings.
Carrie, just, I'm sorry, on the Santa Fe, I just look at.
Did you add those projects already in there?
Thank you.
Okay,
Please, thank you.
so you would like me to go through them?
No, I just,
Bowie Annex. This is where we start to make some of the changes on buildings. Bowie Annex, actually, it's been reduced on your building repair by 5,000. The reason being, we have to set up the new accounts for the vehicle maintenance garage, law enforcement centers out there. So I removed 5,000 from your building repair here, and it will eventually fall into place with your vehicle maintenance garage. Your law enforcement center. This is a brand new facility that will be opening up out there. Here's how it originated as the proposed budget.
and this is new, right?
This is a brand new account. Based off of square footage, you've got 64,000 in this building, you have 44,000 out there. As far as the operation, they're kind of very similar on the mechanical side. You've got newer equipment here, the newest equipment will be out there. The presentation of this right here, understand, if we do not move into the building until January, then you could reduce it by October, November, December, January, just total by 4 months. But the next following year, you're gonna need to pick this projection. You'll have a better idea what it's gonna take to operate that building after one full fiscal year. So this right here is presented for 1 year, 1 full year.
So it's a new building, got $30,000 for general building repair. Would that be up to the contractor who built it to make the repairs in the first
They
place?
will make repairs, but
I'm just-
this, I know, this right here goes for my annual fire alarm inspections, fire suppression inspections,
Oh, that's wrong,
extermination,
that's wrong.
chillers. This is for things that I need to do, filters. It's a very large building, IR testing, backflow inspections mandated. So judge that item right there, we see all those breakdowns. That is for things, your actual building repair is 30. Hopefully, we don't utilize that, and that would be
What is
money.
IR testing, just for,
We go into our electrical panels, infrared testing, we do that countywide now. The insurance company, TAG really likes it. We go into our electrical panels, we look up equipment, we can tell if we have a heat buildup or a potential for a fire or something.
Carrie, there's a small typo just right there, under the law enforcement center, right, there, yeah, center.
And the grounds, we picked that up underneath this account as well.
Mike, I know I asked you this before, do you think it's possible that we could use inmates to mow and whatever? Sheriff, what do you think? You have any trustees that you trade the lawnmower?
I don't have anybody to go with them, and he would have to be, he'll have to go through jail school, or whoever's gonna have to go out there with him. He can't just be out there by himself.
We used to do that years ago, our department got away from it.
Why?
Us too, we got away from you.
But why, I mean, from
It was
outside looking
It was a
in,
hassle on our part as far as
taxpayer.
picking them up, working them, having them back mid-afternoon and stuff like that. You know, we had to have them back.
There's
by a
one
certain-
across the street though.
And you can't get enough of them that are classified that can work
Go
outside.
outside.
I mean, that's our problem now that we have out there at the jail. And plus, if you get someone out there, I mean, you gotta watch them and they don't care what they run over, they, you know, they break things so we don't have to worry.
There's a reason why they're in jail.
But we do use them outside, we do have good ones that we use outside.
Yeah.
We use them out in the jail, but like I said, I mean, we're lucky if we can get 3 to be outside because of class.
They're mowing, we're grooming. There's a big difference.
Could you chain them to the building or something? I'm totally kidding. Yeah, daisy chain, just do a daisy chain.
Michael, vehicle maintenance garage,
Yes.
is that the sheriff's vehicle maintenance garage?
That'll be the new one that's out there, so I'm taking
So
that,
this is another new line item,
it's brand new
this,
line.
this one.
And there, of course, on 5,000, that was transferred out there. Okay, then the next one is the fire station. I'm not gonna carry on, I know you got that. One of the issues that we've discussed for the last year or two was who maintains these new buildings? Yes. Currently, right now, the way the budget is presented to you is Richard and them will be maintaining their own building, I would just be doing the grounds the way it's presented. I'm just making you aware, I'm not for sure what Richard and them has presented, but now you see how I break down those totals for you as we work out the budget and everything. If I maintain it, this right here is what I'm gonna need. If Richard maintains it, this is what he's gonna need. He's gonna need this set up. Some of this stuff is mandated on buildings. Your fire alarm inspection, he's gotta have that. Extermination, really need to hang on to it. Fire extinguisher, backflow, R testing, and your general building repairs.
So the 16,850 is what you put,
That is correct.
going across all these various accounts.
Yes, ma'am. And then the 1,500 is just showing you that down at the very bottom, that's what I have in my budget. So if he maintains it, then with all due respects, we need to give him this money right here to maintain the building, and I'll just take care of it.
Why would you not maintain a facility this size with this much
They've been,
capital?
they've actually done a great job in taking care of the building.
Right,
An excellent job. I just need to make sure the money's in there. It would be a brand new account. If y'all are willing to set that account up for us, we will maintain that building.
so you're saying if you maintain it,
It's 16,850. If Richard is to maintain it,
it's still 16,850 would not be, it doesn't matter. who
yeah, it don't matter either way.
Right,
But that's, not utilizing, your employees.
I can maintain that building with the current amount of employees that we do have.
to me, that would make the most sense, I mean, I think
It's a
about
new building,
things like
too.
annual, inspections, there's just, I know, I don't wanna speak for you chief, but I know you're so few staff.
I know at one time, the conversation was, like, you would feel more comfortable if you maintain those, facilities by infrastructure.
That is correct, especially the new buildings that y'all brought them online and stuff like that.
And that's already in your proposal, this 16,850?
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, only the 1,500.
Oh, and mine's only the 15, but the rest of it would need to be put in one of the two accounts.
What would be your
It's not currently in there, in either one of them, fire department or mine.
But wouldn't it have to be in some ones?
Yes.
This was the first year that we brought it to.
What's your preference? You wanna take care of it, you want?
Richard, I don't mind helping you on our department, just go ahead and do the full maintenance on it.
It's the only issue I would have with it is we can't just take that out of our current building repair maintenance, because we will be repairing 5 other stations with that, what we're doing 6 now. I just talked to Carrie a little bit ago, and we'll need to add considerable to our building maintenance to keep up with it.
but at the same time, some of it will be diffused from our utilities. And we put money in there for grounds maintenance this year, but we didn't know how much we were gonna need. So my thinking is if we go ahead and give this allotment to Mike to take care of the maintenance on that building, we're still gonna need to keep our building maintenance the
And
same,
that makes sense, right?
so we can continue to keep up with the others.
If I could address this issue, then talking about maintaining buildings. Don't mean to jump ahead of the judge.
I do have a question though before you do that. So Carrie, on this new 1490 account, are you adding in the other line items? Like, okay, but that's where we're thinking it would live, right? In that part of the
Under the
budget?
bid, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Buildings. I wanna go back to the law enforcement for just a moment. This building here, like I said, you know, depending on when we move in, it could be reduced. If we take a gamble, go ahead and reduce it now. As far as maintaining this building, I've asked for 2 new additional employees. With our current maintenance technician staff, I'm asking for 1 additional employee. For the grounds maintenance, I'm asking for 1 additional employee as well. These are 2 of the low positions that we have within the department. If I do not maintain the buildings out there, my department being the law enforcement center and the maintenance vehicle garage, then the sheriff really is gonna need an employee. I'm not speaking for him, I'm just watching the outside. Somebody needs to maintain those new buildings as well. There's a big difference between his staff and what they do and how they maintain buildings versus what our staff does, you know, on commercial big buildings that are institutional. There's a total difference in maintenance, training as well. So what I presented to you there, I highly recommend it go one way in his department or fall underneath mine. If it falls underneath mine, I will need the 2 additional people, one for the day crew tech, 1 for grounds. That way we could send, for example, on grounds, we would send all 4 people out there at one time, get it taken care of, knock it out, get back downtown, take care of stuff down here.
So you're not saying a dedicated employee on grounds, you're saying just add another employee and you would use them across the board?
No, I'm not asking for 2 people. One of them would be for the grounds, being at grounds level 1, the other one would be a maintenance tech.
But the grounds person would not just be solely dedicated to
Yes.
that property?
Yes, no,
Right.
we would move
All
them
around,
around
yes.
all properties. And go back to the way we used to do it back in the 80s. I've spoken to Nicholas about this, maintaining these buildings. We would keep a crew out there at the detention center. We make out there 2 months. We rotate these crews in and out where they just do the burn outs, you know, being downtown. We went from there to grounds. We just maneuvered all around.
And so that's a $98,000 impact and increase with salaries for the 2 new positions.
We're supposed to be going down. This is,
Is that already included or not included, the 2 positions?
okay, what else?
Projects, I can put a priority on that if y'all have that list. Do they have a list of this, Karen?
Did you get the quotes?
No.
I didn't get one this year.
Do not
Do you
apologize.
want to wait on this particular issue until I can get the document?
If we can share it, do you have it on the screen or not?
Here.
I can share it with Judge.
I have to-
Yeah, I didn't get this. I'll share.
Who else has one? But you,
You're special.
why is it?
That's
That's it. Okay.
Okay, Item number one, this is something I've had in for the last several years, auditorium in the Santa Fe building, acoustical repairs, projected at 3553. Second, Santa Fe again, exterior window replacement. This right here just continues to kind of get bad as we go each year. We've got a total of 23 windows in the building that need to be replaced. This number right here, I'll be honest with you, I think it's kind of on the high side of it. We designed the windows to be removed from the interior, and we can work with a local company here to see if that cost could come down. Item number three, I'm not sure if you have a cost written in there on that. $14,583.
That's the town coming up with.
That's in the auditorium. But I'd like,
Have you already fixed that? I thought you were.
no,
Okay.
but I'd like, we have to watch our budget now toward the end of the year. If I have enough money out this year, I'd like to go ahead and get that done, and I'll put it within this.
And it's gonna cost that much to do that?
Yes.
Mike, I think number one again, you said the projected cost of facility maintenance was 35 or 30?
Item number one is 30,553. Yes. Item number four, this is something that came about when we started our elevator mod projects over there. We had some of the cars getting torn up inside. I was requested to get calls to put cameras in the car. That's what that's about. Item number five, 12th floor painting, woodwork, plaster repair. Due to the issue we had with the terracotta on the top of the building that created some leaks inside, it actually run some signals down on the 12th floor.
Hey, Mike, we were in the meeting of the day with the, voting equipment, the ticket office.
You see
Have you
that
seen
damage?
some damage? Okay, I just made sure you saw that.
Yeah, we had a fan coil unit that we didn't know about. I think it was like Thursday or Friday evening about quitting time. It was in the boy's office and been leaking probably all week long. They had been there. I go in the ticket office and ruined the top of it.
Going up like this.
It happened on July 3rd, so the particular employee hadn't been there for like a week. And nobody been to the ticket office looking up, so.
I've got a way I think I can fix that. And then of course, let's see, your total for number five is 42,751 is projection. And then items 6, 7, and 8 are the roof maintenance
Those are the ones you moved to the other accounts.
that I was looking at. And item number 9, this was for the monitor replacement in the central government. Do y'all have a number on that?
I don't have a number on that yet.
Brandon, do y'all have a number on
Oh, yes, I do, I'm sorry. 4739,
4,700.
yes.
And what is that for? The TV.
For the monitor, the TV monitors in the living room, to replace those, there's
Is this the
4 of
one to
them.
run cable, to show on cable TV?
I
Yes.
presume.
Why do we need cable TV? We don't.
Just,
I'm just saying. Thank you. Okay, what else you got?
That's it.
What's your, is this the priorities? Is this
I
the
give you the
priority?
priorities, of course, item number 3, I would put it at the top of the list. Number 2 would be item number 5. I'm sorry, item number 5 would be my second priority. And then item number 2 would be number 3. Item number 1 would be number 4. And then the roofs, 6, 7, and 8 would be next. And then the cameras would be last.
Is there anything in there now that's in that our number?
30,000 for 3, 20,000 for 65, 5,016. So we have everything except for district purchases.
Yeah, top two for
It's,
now. Maybe stick to the top two for now, as we look at the numbers.
so you think the window is number one, the window replacement?
No, your number one was item number 3 of 9.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm sorry. Okay.
Floor tile is my top priority.
And you might
because
could
we
do that
rent-
this year, right?
Yes, since we rent that out. My second item that's putting a priority would be item number 5. That's all that plaster repair up on the delivery.
For some on the eleventh too, though, isn't there?
Yes, small area right there. And then third would be window replacement. Those would be the top 3 priorities.
Let's leave in the top two. That good, you want? We'll consider the other one.
Double pane windows, just a matter of time, they could break all of them. That is a lack of the people that utilize the areas. When we moved into the building, I could have explained to them, you need to at least stay an inch and a half away from the window, place something on it. These windows were designed to reflect heat. You go put a piece of tape on that window, it tracks it.
How many windows are cracked this time?
I've counted 23 as for this budget. They just increasing through the years.
I have a correction on the jury, it's $4,000. Yes.
So Carrie, are the new positions in there? You said no, is that right? Okay.
Of those 23 windows, do you have those as a priority?
No, sir, they're just sporadically around.
Well, I'm thinking maybe replace 5 of them or something like that, or 10 maybe.
You get a better price if you buy more. It's like everything else.
At least you get a start on it.
I think the first year I presented this to you, 13, and it's just kind of grown through the year.
I was just thinking maybe get a start on it.
I can tell you my projection for the window. Each window's projected at $840 each, and we have an 8% contingency on that, just in case something goes wrong on each.
What if we do this, Mike? Go ahead and do the tile replacement there on the, if you can do that out of this budget, we can add 15,000 to something else that you want to do. For next year, yeah.
To add those windows on here.
We have our utility account, we could also watch to see how we can kind of move money out there, so. Y'all allow me to go ahead and do number 3?
So we'll take out number 1, trying to get that done this year, and add in your 2 and 3.
What do you say, movement?
Yeah, he's got, yes. No, do the 4, and the October.
Item number 3 will be
Yeah.
done now.
That way you can, just frees up some money, you can do.
And then
Floor painting is number 1 priority now.
the
Woodwork-
12th floor, yes.
Yeah. The woodwork
Item
is
number 5 is number 1.
Yeah, and number 3 priority, number 2 now would be the exterior window
Correct.
replacement. Correct. Let's see what we can do by,
Okay.
at the end of the day on Wednesday.
These windows are gonna take a while to order whenever we do decide to move forward with them. It's kind of a sole source on who we have to do it. Any other questions of me?
Good. Is Carol out of town? No, thanks, Mike. County judge. It's gonna be tough. anything different, I just said, Karen. They stay the same. Commissioners, anything different, no? Human resource, okay, here, I think all you're adding is the, time clock raise number 7 or whatever, right?
Yes.
It's called version 7, that's the only difference, only difference in hers, and you have to do that.
Well, version 6 is no longer being supported.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if we want support, we have to. That's right.
Yeah, whatever happened to that technology that we bought a couple years ago to look at, I don't know what we call it,
The
the pay
software.
scales and
The
positions?
software, these a 3-year, subscription, and we still have that.
Are we
and
gonna
I'm-
use it in our plans?
Yeah, I am, I've been working on, and I talked with, Commissioner Vaughn last week about it, going back to the Rainey Associates, survey that we had done. And I've been working through the current positions and where they were placed by Ray and kind of where we are, where those positions are today, that were existing at that time.
Was that the survey back in the 90s or early 2000s?
2000s, yeah, that was the last survey we had done, and they went back and, at least established placement for those positions and the grading. And so, rather than start from scratch, it was, the thought process to go back to that survey as a, kind of a jumping off point to see, okay, where are we now? Are we still kind of, our positions placed, in the same order that they were, back then? Not that those grades wouldn't all be accurate at this point, but, the salaries would be very different today than they were then, but we could at least look at if the positions, have not changed significantly, are they still placed, kind of in the same order? And I am in process, I'm about 3/4 of the way through getting them placed in a spreadsheet to see where we stand on those positions today.
Okay, and you think that's a project we'll finish this next budget cycle?
Hopefully so, yes, ma'am.
Appreciate you. Okay, IT. Hi, Brandon. How was your trip?
Yes.
You did?
You did? Yes.
What page is this on, Jared? 19?
Ish.
All right, Brandon. So,
No, I'm not sure where you want to start.
On the line item to remove the senior application position. Do you help me understand that?
Sure.
Remove that?
Yeah. The original idea was that we would have somebody to actually build software for some of the different departments, but it never really got utilized. Effectively, basically, Lana just babysat software that somebody else wrote. So really, and that's kind of what it came down to was, instead of actually having a developer develop software for the different departments and stuff, they bought some software off the shelf.
So do you think, one of the years, over the years, I don't know, our technology department has gone through ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've seen kind of out in the field is this position, and I don't know how Lana was managing that position, but what I've seen over the years is that there would be someone that is, looking for opportunities in the county, right? So the part that makes me nervous about removing this position is the only thing we now have is then to go buy more technology, right? If you go to a department and someone says, I need to be able to do X, Y, Z.
Right.
And we don't have someone in-house that could manage smaller projects like of this, that could code, that could build,
Right.
then IT, I mean, this is what I think happens, so this may not be right, but then IT would say, well, we need to find a vendor of someone that offers that software.
Right, and the problem that I saw with it was that instead of having somebody on staff to do, you know, project here or project there, we could actually have somebody, you know, I mean, we could just take care of those things ourselves. I mean, you know, as far as like software off the shelf that somebody needs, you know, to incorporate whatever. For instance, I mean, like the bell bonds and stuff like that, it goes, the hot checks, the bell bonds, I believe, are still something that we need to find, you know, an idea for, a solution for.
But when you say that, it means buy new technology versus having someone build it?
Right, yeah, and honestly, I think that the idea of having someone on staff to do those, I mean, really the time spent, I guess, for a position to develop software like that, I think it is kind of a waste, honestly, as far as that goes. I mean, if we can find the software that somebody else has written, you know, and go from there. I mean, I think the idea of it is great. We have a position, we could, you know, write different department software and do all those kind of things, maintain it, and get exactly what we need, but it's not really what has happened. So
Could it happen in the future? Just makes me nervous about removing it, because this county, the way our technology was designed was all in-house, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and there's pros and cons that go with
Sure,
that, and I get
sure.
that. It makes me nervous about removing it and not having that skill set. We're just so
Well-
different, like the things we do here. Another county, I always feel like
I'll
it's,
disagree
we're
with
so
that, but,
different
yeah.
in Potter County.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say for sure whether it would be something in the future we want to do or not, but right now, it doesn't seem feasible to me to really have a position just for that, for those one-off little.
Talking about all encompassing, but that software would be utilized throughout the county.
Yeah.
Like just,
Yeah.
segmented, certain.
Yeah, like I see
Yeah.
this position in practice often where, it may not be called this, you know, it might be like special projects. It might be something that their job in this scenario would go into the county, right? And I'll pick on sheriff. Sheriff might call and say, I need my technology to do this. And so they are organically looking for opportunities to make people's job better and
Right.
work faster.
That's something that we would all take hold of and invest in.
I don't know that I follow. Yeah, but all the departments are at the mercy of IT, right? They're gonna say, what do you think we could do? I may have an idea, but I can't code it, I can't build it.
We have used that, asking her to communicate, you know, doing a report or something with our pipe system, and so.
Yeah, even with your technology now, you might say, I need this special report that does whatever. And you can pull from that, analyze it, I don't know.
Leanne, do you have something you need to add?
I just need to add, as far as the bell bond issue, that, there's not a software out there, that's why we needed a programmer. And also, how do we keep what we have, not lose the history, which we do have to have, and integrate all that together with, you know, what our system is now. There's nothing out there. So, I mean, it's vital that we do keep that in mind and not lose, or then later in the middle of the year when there's a disaster, say, wait, there's nothing we can do about it. So I'm very skeptical and don't see how we could not have a programmer to put all that together. And I'm in support of whatever you need. I'm just telling you our current issues as far as the bail bonds and that information. And you know, we've been over this for years now. Even the sheriff's office is aware that that's a major issue. And it is something we have to be sure that it stays compatible and.
Well, I mean, not only that, but we still have stuff on the old system too, that still needs to be integrated, that is out there that we, you know, something dies, I mean, we still need to get that moved over.
And that is part of our budget, that into there as well. For
So can you answer the need to Leanne? Can you
I haven't had a chance yet to look and see what is actually out there or not. I mean.
Well, unless something major that there was, I mean, the sheriff can verify this, there's absolutely nothing. Is this true, Sheriff? Because we've been through this for the last few years, and, it's amazing, but as far as Belmont and, history and retrieval and how to put all this together, there's absolutely nothing. And that's why our system is incredible. I mean, what we have and what, and how it keeps it all together, we are very, very blessed as far as other counties, because ours does work. And to lose that or not have that in the future would be extremely.
No, and
bad.
that's not my goal. My goal isn't to lose any of that or anything like that. I haven't had a chance to look and see what actually may or may not be out there. If there isn't anything, I mean, that presents a huge problem, but I certainly don't want any of it to go away.
So Brandon, do you think it would be fair for budget purposes to leave it in for now? Leave the position
That's
in?
fine, yeah.
And that way you have time, because I recognize you're new to the position and when they drink from the water hose, is that, and so I get that. Like, these are a lot of questions coming at you all the time, but, if you're okay.
That's fine, that's fine. We can always revisit that.
And thank you for saying that, because I don't live, I mean, you guys live this every day. I'm just on the outside seeing this.
And I'm not trying to get into his business either, but I'm just saying it is a huge need, and we have been addressing it over the last few years.
Sure.
And, a programmer was our only hope.
Yeah.
How much did that add back in?
Yeah, I know, it's hard.
About $80,000.
That was in the existing budget, right?
No, it was not, it was requested.
That's an additional.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part.
His budget request, that position was pulled out, so it was not in the original figures.
But it's in the current, that position is in the current budget.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's in the FY17.
Okay, yes, okay.
Katie, did you want to say something?
It would just be my suggestion that maybe instead of having a salaried position where we're also paying all of these benefits to the employee, that maybe we take that amount of money and put it into like a projects account to where we could actually hire a consulting firm, where instead of having one application programmer designing the software, and that's gonna take them exponentially longer than it would to have a firm actually come up with a custom solution for us.
Yeah, that's an option as well, yeah.
Just as an idea.
It would make more sense to do something like that than have actually somebody on staff.
I'm just going from history, there hasn't been a firm or a software that could even, and Sheriff, keep me honest, let's work together on what we've found in the past and how, as committees, that we've tried to get answers. That wasn't even feasible, and people wouldn't even talk to us about it. Is this correct? Do you remember?
I think the biggest problem is the program that we have and what it's written in is the biggest issue.
Right, it's the conversion, right, yeah, the conversion of what's already there.
Yeah, I mean, what we have is unique to our county because it was homegrown and built.
Right.
And yes, you're right, I mean, the last time we looked, there just wasn't anything out there. Of course, that's been a couple of years, but.
And that
I've not heard of
means
anything
we lose
since.
our history, we lose what we have. We've gotta have somebody that writes it, that puts it all together.
Well, the programming language that the actual COBOL and Babbage programs is written in is just really not used anymore.
Right.
So no matter what going forward, we'll have to have that information moved out, but as far as moving forward, we want it written in a different.
Right, the idea of that whether going forward, even if we had somebody on staff, it's still the same idea. COBOL it's older, nobody really uses it much anymore. And that seems to be the problem with finding somebody to write it as well. So, I mean, you still have the problem whether you have somebody on staff or just contract it out.
If I could interject, we had, what's his name, Cliff, almost a year to do our conversion for our images. And then Lana came on board and took it over. It never came to be. All that work and all those meetings and nothing ever happened
I
It's
mean,
just so much work for one person.
it's a lot of work, and we had meetings weekly with Cliff, and then weekly with Lana, and then by that time, we were going to training for Tyler, so we just dropped it. It was over a year long.
And then you're at another corporation's mercy as to when their people will work, when they will fix the glitches. I mean, it's a matter.
Are you trying to stay with Babbage? Is that what you're suggesting?
No, not at all. I mean, it has to be upgraded. You have to move on to the future. It's just, there's not a software out there that does that. And the programmer was the only way that we saw that, because even with Spillman, they weren't willing to work to try to integrate anything. They weren't interested. And if they talked to us about it, we were talking $1 million or $2, right? For them to even consider trying to integrate all of that. So
The
I
problem
just.
is you have a law enforcement package, or you have a clerk's package. Nothing works. And you would think in this day and age, somebody would have come up with that line.
And Belmont's even.
Yeah, Belmont's is even further out there. They're on their own island now. For sure.
So that is my
Doesn't sound like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think you're
Well, but I
you're
think-
gonna run into the same problems, whether they're in-house or whether you contract it out, it's the same issues, I think.
Well, and I see that as a management, operational change, right? So it's back to your point is, I don't really know what the intent of this job was, but this is what it ended up being. And so I think if this position, whatever it looks like, whether it's contracted out or like just to have clear definition, it may warrant a whole job description rewrite so that we are clear about the candidate. But removing the money, I'm hearing some concern even in the audience. So for the sake of budget, I would say let's leave it in, give you time to flesh that out, whatever that looks like. If it's a different line item for contracting or rewriting job description, whatever that looks like, to give you flexibility to lead.
I mean, we have bias.
I'm sorry,
We have bias.
fine.
Okay. What else?
Judge, on the software maintenance line item, what all is included in that?
We already get the switches.
Yes, we already got this.
So that's out.
Yeah,
Yes.
what's still left in that line item here? The software maintenance? Yes.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it went up from 207,756 to 358.
Yeah, so there were 1, 2, 3, there were 5 things, but I don't know what's still in here. I may have said the wrong thing, let me make sure I'm calling it the right account.
It says contract services here, software maintenance, 73675. Is that what you're looking at?
Yes.
Yeah. It went up substantially.
It has, on that one, we have our backup software that we use now. When we originally bought it, it was for 10 terabytes worth of storage. And we had since then purchased more hardware and never actually upgraded that license. So that reflects that. It's
And so this is stuff that we already have, right, Brandon? I mean, there's nothing we can do about it.
It really is.
It's inside the county, you're locked in. Okay. One of the things I think would be helpful, is, I don't know that we've ever given a lot of attention to what are the things we have, and as prices go up, are we still using the right things that are a good price point?
Yeah, and that's something that we will probably be looking at, the DevOps software. I think we'll probably look at something else. It was fine where it was, it just was, we didn't have the coverage that we should have. That's what it was.
So we're locked into these, can't really do anything, it's our technology.
So here, the switches you did remove because it was right, that's out.
Yes.
So you need the blades and you need the storage.
Yes, on that, that's just the ongoing, growth effectively. And that is something that, again, it's to just keep up with,
So you buy 62 desktops?
Yeah, the idea behind this was that, we have our VDI system that we're using several different places. And I really think that we just probably need to spend some time perfecting that and getting it,
People like it or
No,
no? No.
Can you help me understand why? What's wrong, what's happening?
we have to, I don't know their end of it, but they're very helpful in helping us very quickly. But when we come in, it just won't work. And like last week or the week before, several of, not an entire department, but 2 people over here, 3 people over here, 4 people just can't even log onto their computer. And then we have to clear a cache almost daily. You have to go in there and clear a cache.
Yeah, part of the
And
can't log on, part of it is we are pretty much at capacity right now as far as the hardware we have, and what we can put onto it. So it's really, we don't have any extras really anywhere. And that is kind of part of what happens there. They come in and it's, one of the desktops is there, but, it's something's wrong with it or it needs rebooted or whatever. So, there's not an extra one for that person to come in and it would just give them that one and then we can fix the other one. It's, you have to fix it as we go. And that's part of, like I said, we're at capacity on it, so it's hard to do, but, that was part of the reason that we brought the desktops into the picture is just because we have desktops out there that are 7 or 8, 10 years old still. The departments need something, and I think, again, I would like to spend some time and try to perfect the VDI. But we've got a lot of projects going on too, so.
And even a hybrid, Carrie, this is gonna go back a couple of years, I don't even know the number. It just costs, we made some capital investment to move to the VDI.
Yeah.
For some
And as
reason,
far as-
200, 300,000 is coming in my head, I don't know if that's accurate. To move in that direction, so maybe even a hybrid of what you're experiencing, and I just need to log into my computer, that's all I need, and I don't want to clear the cache every day.
And those are the kind of issues that we want to alleviate, stuff like that. And that's why I say we want to really look into it some more. When you look at cost per, like, this person's machine, it is really not that different from a desktop. You have the equipment on the back end, which, yeah, you can put more than just one on there, but it's still fairly expensive. You have all the licensing for it, on that end. You have all the normal licensing anyway, like the Office, the OS Windows, the antivirus, those kind of things that's the same no matter what you have, whether it's a desktop or a VDI box, but the licensing for the VDIs, the hardware, all that, it probably turns out they're pretty close to being similar cost-wise.
Okay.
The piece itself is fairly cheap, but all the stuff on the back end to make that work is pretty costly.
So you'll work on some kind of analyzing that, and, because I think what's hard for us is we make these big purchases, and we don't get to see it on the front line, so we don't ever get the loop back.
And
It
that's
worked
the
or it
thing.
didn't work, or.
all I can say is that when they're having issues, they'll call me, Kim, can you look this up? I'll have somebody waiting, or they'll transfer a
Because you
phone
have
call.
a desktop.
Because I have yes. And so I'm there, I get the information, but we only have like 5 of them in our entire office, so our love would to go that way and get rid of it. But I can
Same
just
thing.
buy what I
I mean,
saw.
those little boxes, nothing against the current, but those are a piece of junk. What we did. I mean, our guys in CID were not able to get stuff to the prosecutors because it wouldn't process. We had to actually go back to the desktops. We've had a lot of problems with those. And like I said, I don't think it's anything to them. I just think that thing is not being able to push enough stuff through. 'Cause,
And that's where I'd like to go
large
back through
files.
and see if we can perfect that a little
So
bit
my
more.
question is, why did we think that was such a great idea to begin with then? Did anybody check it out?
The idea
Make
of
sure
it
worked?
is, the idea of it really honestly is,
The
it
idea
is
is
a
a
good
good
idea, okay? But I think that what we probably want, I don't know how I wanna word that, I guess that,
I just guess.
we can go back to like our
If
notes.
we can run back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I wasn't really, I wasn't the guy who made that decision. But I really would like to use it as we can. I think there are several places that they will work really, really well and do exactly what we want them to do. And I think that, like I say, if we can look at it and kind of get it a little bit smoother, I guess maybe that's what
We went from the smaller ones to more of a, I don't know, just a small desktop.
Yeah.
Which is done much better.
That's effectively a desktop though, it hasn't,
With the
it
little
has a hard drive
boxes,
in it.
just didn't work for us. And I mean, we've had issues, not only with CIP, but also in our records. Probably the same thing they were going through where, you know, it just shut down or would lock up on it. But once we went back to the little small desktops, we've not had that many problems with it at all.
Okay, so you want 62 new computers, 10 laptops, 8 additional laptops for county attorney, and 15 phones.
Yeah.
Can any of that, do you have to have?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, on the desktops, we can probably cut it back a little bit, but again, that's one of those things, it's just the amount of.
How many laptops do you have, Scott? Total?
Where's the vision that you have on, so that's 5. There are, 2 floaters that we use for trial. And then, let's see, investigators have 6.
I was told the investigator was gonna say, that's what
Hey,
Eric
okay.
had said, yeah.
18.
That's what
15.
And 15 total?
Yeah.
So I like that we can kind of,
These people have, in addition to the laptop, they have desktop also?
No, the criminal division lawyers, the laptop is their computer.
That is.
Right.
So when's the last time these were replaced?
Oh, gosh. I'd have to defer to him.
yeah, it's, I wanna say like 6 years ago.
I would say 2011.
They last a while, huh?
They do.
That's a good thing.
So we're keeping all this in?
Sure, but we like the switches, we can already bought, so you took those out already.
If we need to, probably on the blades and under the, with the switches there, the 630 blades and the, storage, we can probably, if we could get a couple of those blades this year, the storage I think will be okay. So we can probably cut that back, so.
Cut it down to 2 blades
Two
and no
blades
storage.
and no storage, yeah, I think we'll be okay there.
And then that way you can keep the desktops in until we can respond to what you
Right.
guys are experiencing
Right.
with the PDI.
And the phones, we just have to keep replacing phones.
Yeah, they break, yeah.
Carrying on the software purchase, let me make sure I'm calling it the right line item. I think it's the software purchases, 74030, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things on the breakdown. What's still left in this budget? So the Microsoft licensing, which we have to have for end of life of Microsoft.
The sequel.
Right. And the air watch, do we need more? We already got the air watch in our maintenance.
We
Don't
do,
we?
yeah, we need more licensing for it, basically, yeah, it's to add to the number of licenses we have.
We just have more people, I'm assuming this is for mobile communication, right? That's what the air watch, so when someone calls and says, I need my email forwarded to my phone,
Right.
this is what supports
Yes.
that. And do we just have more people requesting that, or?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's handy to,
It's really handy.
so.
And there's not a web service, like I think about Outlook, and I think about, the web service way of getting into Outlook. That's a different way than AirWatch. I don't know if AirWatch is required because I can see some positions it's required based on the sensitivity of their information. Like I would think an email to Scott is different, right, than an email to any of us.
With an AirWatch, I'm not an IT guy, and I just learned this the other day. My phone gets lost. They can go in there from his office and delete everything on my phone and kill my phone.
Right. Or
Which is-
anywhere in between, we can remove
which
just the
is-
Potter County information.
Which is,
Completely wipe, but that's.
that's a safety for the county
Note to
itself.
self, don't ever make break it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, plus
I wouldn't do it.
plus the firewall
Don't
from,
make Katie mad.
plus the firewall of somebody getting into our network. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, when, we're going way back, but, you know, we, at one time, that was how we got our email was you had your county email go to your Gmail account, which is the most unsafe place to do it.
Yeah, no, there's a web service of Outlook. I mean, I've used this.
Like Office 360.
Yeah, it's like the Office, there's a whole web service
We're not really
different
set
from.
up for Office 365.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay,
I honestly haven't really looked into it.
okay.
I know it's a monthly.
And there is a licensing cost to that as well.
Yeah.
I just didn't know, I mean, if this isn't too costly, you know, it was $720, but, okay.
So Spillman, why is that in there?
That is the conversion for all the old data, the data that's in Babbage and the old sheriff system, that's.
That's what we have implemented for the last 3-4 years to get converted over into Spillman.
That's to have all those old records brought into Spillman.
But you bought Spillman with your forfeiture money, I remember. Right, not, that didn't come through,
I mean, that was a grant, yeah.
right, it was, if I remember, this was a long time ago, Sheriff, so keep me honest. But I remember there was a little bit of bad blood, if you will, right, because it didn't go through the process, it didn't, I think it's that.
Nobody's ever complained about that. The only person is, we tried to involve everybody in this county when we went to Spillman. We tried to get the IT involved, and I've got a book still with every email that was ever sent, and nobody ever showed up from IT to help us with that. That was the one thing that we just needed, because we're going backwards, but the Babbage and what we had no way to search that. If you called and said, hey, can you tell me how many theft reports we had in the last 6 months in precinct 2? There's no way I could do that unless I went through every call. I could not search anything in that Babbage, and that's why we went to the Spillman, so we could be able to pull that data out and use it for future references. But we tried to get people to help us with that, and nobody, yes, it was the sheriff's office that went through that, and yes, we got a grant for that, but that's how we got about it, and it was a bunch of, not to be derogatory, but it was a bunch of cops doing IT work, and that was the best we could afford at the time. It's turned out well for us, and even, we spent $600,000 for that, but it was well over $1 million for anything that was even close to that.
So I guess my question is, why are we still paying for this? Why is it in your budget?
We've never converted.
We've never had that converted.
You have to pay for the data to be converted over into Spillman, and it was never done because we didn't have the money to do it.
It's been turned down.
Yeah, it's been in the last, I don't know how many budgets.
We've never done it.
Eventually.
So there's a lot of money in there to do it. We could keep putting the same amount in there.
No, you just keep putting.
Yeah, no, it's never been actually approved.
Well, what happens if it gets cut again?
And then still sitting out there.
Eventually, yeah, it's still sitting out there, eventually it's gonna have to go away. This goes back to the whole goal. I mean, it's, that's where that data resides, is, and, yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say about that.
Welcome to budget.
Yeah.
And I'd like to point out that it's in the sheriff's budget this year because it was moved out of our contract services, but we're going to be paying Cobol, a company that
Yeah,
supports
that's true.
Cobol, about $20,000 a year to support that legacy system. So
for those few things that we have. I mean, there is,
for Micro
they're big
Focus,
things.
they're the actual company that supports Cobol. So that got moved into the sheriff's budget after we kind of
Moved it all back.
split apart our software maintenance, but yeah, we'll be paying close to $20,000 for them to help support Cobol.
But what other things are they helping to support outside of this old Spillman technology stuff?
It's
The hot
just
checks.
the hot checks, the baggage, everything that
Yeah.
Roland originally wrote.
The legacy system.
Yeah, the legacy stuff.
Okay. And how long do you think we'll have to keep getting that legacy system supported?
Until we don't have programs on it.
Which we never will, right? We always will have that, need that historical.
Not necessarily, I mean, that's part of what we're talking about, you know, the bell bonds, the hot checks, those kind of things, those pieces of it. This in particular, you know, the data to move it into Spillman. Once we have all that data off there, we won't have the data anymore. But again, there's a big step in between those two things.
Just take it out for now. Just say it'll help us balance.
Trust me.
Instead of kicking it. Okay, what else?
There's something that jumped. The internet service from 32.3 to 64.7. But then network connectivity dropped, so I don't know if they counter offset each other, if something happened in that
Wow,
account.
that dropped big,
Yeah,
40,000.
so I don't know if there's something that is offsetting those two.
The internet services, we were gonna have, all our contracts for that stuff is up, and we're gonna have to redo it. So part of that is we put more in there, because I expect it's probably gonna be more.
That much more? Almost
I don't wanna say no, but it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, we have talked with some AT&T guys about some of this stuff, right? With the contract we have, it's we're getting like a 92% discount on the base rate. I think that's gonna change, so. And then in that as well, we also have a backup internet circuit for the law enforcement complex.
in that internet
That's-
service?
Yes, for suddenly, that's what it's listed as.
And why wouldn't that be purchased out of the capital projects fund versus the budget? This coming budget?
Is this a monthly service or is this a
Yeah, it's gonna be a monthly thing, yeah.
Okay, okay.
And the cost on that is because it stops at the housing development out there.
Yeah.
They have nothing that runs to the jail. So they're having to run the internet connection.
Yes,
from out
I
there.
saw that when I went to tour, and you're landing on a different spot than where you thought when it started. There's all this wire that was moved to one spot, and it's like, no, we're not using any of that anymore, it's all going somewhere different.
Well, that was for the
That
actual
was on
fiber.
fiber. That was for the fiber, yeah.
Okay.
So the fiber actually will connect the law enforcement center back down to the Santa Fe building downtown. This is actually for a secondary internet, so that they actually have more internet speed there than trying to go through just the fiber.
Okay.
And I think that number is a little bit inflated. I think the numbers that we got after we put together budget will probably put it a little bit closer to 19,000 down to the 24 for Suddenlink.
So could we just update that to at least 20 or 18 instead of 24, a little bit helps?
Yeah, so.
So the question about the network connectivity is because, we're looking to get rid of all of the T1 lines that are going to the outlying buildings in the county, because most all of them have a wireless link. It also gets rid of, the wireless link that AMED Tactile has right now between downtown and the sheriff's office, because our fiber's taking care of that. So those two items were about $20,000 a piece yearly that are going away.
So you're just gonna approve everything and I just leave like that. So we can try it, I thought I'd try it.
Set the bar real high. Y'all, that's what first.
That's why we don't let it go. What else do you have?
Yeah. 5-minute recess. Okay, Leanne, you're up.
And that should be page 30.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I just have two little teeny little things. And so, increases, one is to my stationery supplies. And this was for postage, increase of postage. And one of the things that increased in my office this year was taking CSCD and juvenile probation. We now disperse their checks as well. And so that is going to increase our postage. That's the only reason that.
Why does it increase postage?
Because I have more mail that I'm sending out than I did before we got CSCD and juvenile probation. It's not payroll, this is the invoices.
Oh, I thought you meant payroll.
No.
That's the restitution checks.
Oh, okay.
The state requires it.
Well, how come CSCD's not?
It had been going through the auditor's office. And then, there was a new ruling, and I guess it's local government code, and then it had to go to the treasurer's office. So we're just working with them. I didn't ask for, I mean, it could have been where it all has to come through the office and we do the actual accounts payable and all of that, which would have needed more employees. So, Carrie and them are still taking on the responsibility of the actual accounts payable, but we, by law, have to disperse those, checks. And so, this is to simply to cover that additional cost.
I'm sure that postage is gonna go up again soon. You got a question?
Well, I need to double check with Sandra, but when those checks were coming through my office, Sandra's office was pulling them out and charging them to CSCD rather than to my office, so I need to make sure that they're still pulling it out and not charging it to my office.
And Carrie and I had discussed that because I'm not sure, taking it on, I'm not sure what the past history of how.
Okay, so there's a chance we could keep it at 10,005 instead of going up.
Well, you do need to, because if postage does go up, I don't know, but I do know, and even if we move it to my department rather than have it again, I don't know how you wanna handle that. But that's the reason, that's the purpose of that increase. Okay, then the other thing I'm asking for is a color copier. I'm so begging for this item. It will upgrade. No, I'm pleading. I should have brought y'all a special drink or something. Oh, I'm sorry. Sheriff's office. Oh, here's the county.
Maybe it's wrong.
It was so nice. Oh, there's too many in jail for me to know the video. Okay, so, here's the deal. set up how many restrictions or how, you know, whatever kind of rules you want over the color copier. To upgrade my copier, this would be about, currently it's 1,000 a month. For the year, is 1,000 for the year, and it would be 2,000, to upgrade. I'm currently paying about $850, $880 something, for the colored copies that I go to Kinko's for your investment reports.
Why do you have to have colored copies? I'm just asking.
Well, and I tried to explain this in our budget meeting, that, I don't wanna go to all the trouble to give you the graphs, put those numbers out there, and it's just a gray, and you're not really seeing it, you don't really know what I'm telling you. It's important to me that my reports look professional and that you can glance at it and see at a glance what it's saying. So that's one of the main reasons. The other reason is just having to go and outsource it. I know carrying them do their budget reports. I mean, there's other places that this would really.
Who else would use it?
I don't know, what any other departments will.
Would y'all use it?
When the Santa Fe good?
If it's there, I mean,
It's
yeah,
there,
it'd be beneficial.
What about you, Shira, would you use it? I have one. You have one. Did I hear you say before you see that?
Not a color, we've got a color printer.
Printer, no, there's not a copy.
Oh, there's a printer.
There's not one. I think CSCD has one, but we're not, that's.
So enthusiastically, who would use it?
If it's more available. I'm sorry, what?
Enthusiastically, who would use it?
Enthusiastically? No?
No, I mean, if it's available, I mean, if we have to pay for it, but if it's already paid for once, it would be a good group.
And it's the cost savings from having to go out and then being able to.
But you only have 1,200 on your requested department request for this year, the upcoming year, so 2,000.
Oh, it's just
There-
2,000 a month.
It says 1,200 on that.
Too much on that.
Right.
Okay.
We actually had to update this spreadsheet of this.
I'm looking at my old notes, I'm so sorry. Instead of the screen.
Yeah,
The screen to revise one.
That $2,200 does not allow for the increase in cost of the copies because it's gonna go from, $0.199 per copy to almost 2 cents a copy to 6.5 cents a copy if you use it for it. So we'll have to watch that closely because the color copiers are so
And that's
much more
exactly what
expensive.
I'm talking about. I mean, even for other departments to use it, that we have an accountability and that it would be, whatever kind of restrictions or rules.
Where would you put it? So everybody.
It would be where the copier is now. It would also, because that's Rook's printer. And, so it would just replace that. It would just be our copier, but only colored copies would only be used in special occasions.
Once a year for budget, probably. We use our color scanner a lot, we scan it, and then if we need color print, we just use our color printer. For budget, I do take out.
Do you have any other need other than what comes to us? I mean, I think we could accomplish something similar and maybe use the screens and share the graphs so that we can see the color that you're trying to demonstrate on your report. So we can do things a little differently. For me personally, I don't need a colored copy when I see it. Even if you emailed it or we saw it on the screen, it would accomplish the same thing with, I think, what you're trying to display to us on the investment side of it.
I'm simply trying to update and upgrade to where whatever our needs are, that equipment is there, but certainly make you guys feel like, you have control of it and that there are guidelines and however you needed to. But I think it's a necessary equipment that we should at least have something like this.
So, maintenance, is there more required maintenance for a color print, color copier and
What's the lifespan?
That's all part of,
That's the $100 a month.
What's all?
and that includes the cartridges.
So you're only really going up $1,000 in your budget, 1,200.
And right now, I'm spending a little over 800 a year on.
Going to other places to get your coffee, like, what is it, where you going? Is there a Kinko still?
Well,
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
So you're really talking the difference about $400? Sounds like it.
Okay, you're so welcome.
For now, at least. What do you think, Greg?
I will see.
Cannot accept gifts.
Actually,
Did you hear that? Oh, the rest of you cannot accept gifts.
No,
Around at 7, so.
what you said.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Is there anything
Thank
else?
you, that's
Okay,
it.
thank you.
Come on then.
All right, Sherry?
Oh, one more.
Oh.
sure.
Okay, just and just because it's my turn to talk, I would like to say that, and I can't speak for the other departments, but I know, especially for my department, that to ask for other employees or to take on the weekend other responsibilities that come in and stuff, that we try very, very hard to not put that on you guys or to add that expense. So, but I'm talking about my staff, is taking on more responsibility. We have, greater things that we're having to get done, and pressures and, all the softwares and, the checks and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm asking is that you guys would consider, and I know they're always put last, but consider your employees for raises. And it be compatible to the hard work they do and the more responsibilities that they take on. And so I'm just asking here in the beginning, I know I feel for you, but please consider giving your employees a comparable raise.
Thank you.
I'm on it.
Thank you. All right, Sherry. I don't think are you doing anything at all? You're asking for anything?
No, but I'm here.
Oh, we're fine here. Oh, prayer. What page are we on, Carrie? Okay, sorry.
The Commissioner Lineage did ask that I give a report on the savings on the 2 purchases we did last year. So I'm just gonna give you each one of you. Already did this, because as y'all remember, we got a new website. We also got a new machine to send our checks to the bank. And both items have more than met our expectations.
Good.
And we did have some cost savings.
It's even better.
Dollar-wise, it's about $5,500 for this year. But more than that, convenience to the taxpayers to be able to go online, pay their taxes, print a receipt, get a history of their taxes, and cut down on phone calls to my office. We aren't mailing out the receipts anymore when they do make a credit card payment, because they can go back in a couple of days and print it themselves.
Wow.
So, and then we were able to save on our card expenses with the check deposit machine. And we get all of our checks to the bank the same day. There's a way to do it with our cash. I'd love to find a way to do that, but there's not.
Very good.
Thank you.
You got the good one?
I know, I can't even say it enough. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So you're not asking for anything?
Exactly,
You cut it,
22,000.
we thank you. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Good work. County clerk, okay. Who's not asking for anything to go around?
think I had on my notes, Carrie, was the line item, the contract service software maintenance, the Odyssey. And I just wrote down a question mark on my notes about the special account. Is that software maintenance being paid from their records archive fee, or?
They're actually splitting that between four accounts. The county clerk is taking a portion, the district clerk is taking a portion, and each of the clerks are using their records management funds for a portion.
Okay.
So we have taken as much as we feel like we can from the special funds. They both agreed to do that.
Okay.
And what was left over, you see.
So what's the total for maintenance for Odyssey?
I believe it was 86,000.
Okay.
But we have to check that out to make sure.
$96,000. What do we pay for, Randall's software? I'm trying to, I know I'm not gonna call it the right name. I know those were big purchases, I'm just trying to see the maintenance.
And we actually split it out between the two attorneys' offices.
So this is a new line item this year for that maintenance, so 20,000.
On, somewhere you have Odyssey, contract maintenance from Odyssey, and then contract services on another line item in here.
Three line items.
Is that that's, I don't see it on my book, though. Is there Odyssey on this?
This software maintenance is the one that's Odyssey.
That's Odyssey.
That's Odyssey. And then this.
Contract.
78,000 was it?
I see it, yeah.
73,560. Yeah.
That was on the 7, I mean.
Yeah, 100,000 there.
Right, but, she collects a fee that can only be used for archives, so we'll take that out of the designated fund balance if she needs it.
Anything else on? Are you gonna speak for Caroline today?
I guess so.
Okay.
Can she change it in case I see something?
What page is that? Oh, that's not on it. So both y'all and you, Steph, y'all both went down on your stationery supply because of e-filing, right? Yeah.
And copies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and copies. So Carrie, the software line item, that's the split you were just talking about, and that's their part of it, right? Okay. And then the education and travel went from 5 to 9, and there's a note combining with CSA travel, what's that mean?
Right, if you go down a few lines to 79725,
Okay.
they used to collect a fee for child support administration registration that had to be used specifically for child support, but we don't collect that fee anymore, and that money is gone. So, I moved it up to the education and travel.
Okay.
She's always had that much, it's just been.
Oh, okay, so it's not an increase.
No, it's not an increase, it's just a reallocation.
And you said this, Judge, I was just catching up and making sure I heard your comments correctly. The drop in stationery and supplies of 20,000 and the drop of the copier of 9, so 29,000 savings. That's due to the technology, just that?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Well, that helps the increase on the other end.
And also on First Image, we would pay $4,000 a year maintenance, that's going away too. For the images, now that they've been converted.
So this is Carolyn's office, did we see a similar savings in any changes in Julie's office?
Yeah.
Okay, I missed that, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Was it the same drop on both sides?
Or just, yeah.
I'm sorry to look back, I'm just looking at the number.
That's 40, yeah, it's 42 and 30.
And then on the copier, that stayed the same. So Julie had about a 7,000 savings, and Caroline had about a 20.
It's 25 just in, the stationery and supplies, and then some more in the, copier, because we have to copy everything that you file right now.
So added together, it's 40,000.
What do your jurors watch now?
Nothing.
Good enough.
We are trying to enhance the
I know.
jury
You want them to
system.
show up more, right?
Yeah, for instance, I think last week they had 3 courts going. We needed 230 jurors. We sent out over 700 summonses, and we got 215 people to come in.
250.
15, 215.
Wow. They don't currently have a TV, you don't have TV in their.
We do. They're the big box, you know, the big box ones, but we don't have like anything, it's not connected to anything that you could watch. So we thought, you know, maybe.
Can we use a smart TV or something? Like, do we need to do cable and all that? Can't we? A lot of.
I don't know, they have to be able to watch the jury presentation every morning when the judge comes in. So we have a big room of about 225 people, and so they're positioned at 4 different TVs throughout the room, hanging down from the ceiling. So everybody can view it. Those TVs have been here since I've been
What
here.
is that for?
To watch the
Oh.
little presentation, and then sometimes they're down there for hours. So we just thought we'd enhance their experience a little bit. I've been here 23 years, and those TVs were there when I came in.
People still read. Just curious, they carry books around or no? Remember yeah, the tablet.
What do they experience in, I mean, I don't wanna compare, I know we're different, but even in Randall County, what's their experience there? I've never been there.
I have no idea. I call and I never have to go in, so
Be interested.
I don't know.
Does anybody know? Does anybody go to Randall County for jury duty? No? Slackers.
Nobody does the jury.
Never got called. They never got called? Very seldom. Very
That's
good Connor. Yeah, every 6 months.
We'd swap that out if we could get new chairs. I said, we'd swap that out if we could get some new chairs.
You would swap having a TV if you got new chairs.
We've been turned down 3 times.
Or do you?
Desk chairs. Aren't they the desk?
They're like desk chairs.
Yeah.
They're terrible. But
I had those in first grade.
Yeah.
You want them to enhance with the TV, you know, they're 23 years old, so 23 years old.
Completed the experience.
well, the chairs are almost 30 years old now.
Yes or no? I'm just asking, yes or no?
No, I think she's just saying just the TV.
Cable, they want cable, they want to put cable in this. Enhance the,
I don't know the expense for the cable has been added anywhere, or whatever, so that's another consideration.
Is that just providing entertainment for the children?
Sorry, just pretty entertaining, you should go.
It would just be like HGTV or something like that.
I'm gonna say no, I'm gonna say no. Y'all say what you want.
She answered yes, and she said that.
I don't think you would encourage jurists to come, maybe that, they do that.
No, 'cause-
Legislative mandate.
Maybe,
Next
probably
year.
so, you must have TVs. You think? I need y'all to tell them.
No, I don't think
It's
required.
No, what do you think?
Absolutely.
You do? You're already out.
It's been stuck there.
Okay. What else we got?
One year of desire.
Is that it?
So carried on the.
Yeah, you had 4,000 on the TVs, but nothing for the wiring or cable.
We hadn't gotten that far, we weren't holding our breath.
Okay. All right, Carrie, let's go to specialty courts. Are we, that's what's next on the list? Specialty courts. I have 68. You're getting emails on this. Okay, hope you don't get anything real racy. You get emails on the screen. Yes.
So we're on what's that increase in salaries?
Remember that this funds a portion of the probation officer's salary, and they are salary increase this year, so it's reflected in this number.
And that goes to the district judges to approve, or? But you're just putting it in because they always get it.
Now, explain to me before we get into that, how does this work? If, district judges approve at 3.5% to their personnel requesting, if and when we, look at a salary increase, they get
No, it's not on top of what we do. They typically ask us what we're leaning. They always ask me what we're leaning towards. And they haven't asked yet.
And with the exception of this portion of the salary, it's state funded, all their salaries are funded through the state. So, that's why they get special consideration or different consideration.
So this one specific account is for the, CSCD person that goes to mental health court, or?
That, or anything associated with the mental health court or even the drug court.
Okay, the drug court too, okay. Yeah, the state is a funny little animal, in case you don't know, the state. It's a funny animal. We all go out there for the hearings at the jail, and the only one who gets reimbursed mileage is the CSCD. We don't, but they do, that's the state, the difference in the state and the county. Yeah.
If they get the state rate raise, do they also get our raise? Or it's just
Okay, what is the 47th District Court account, what is that one? Is that the only specialties court there was? Okay. Okay, so any of the district court, then we don't need to look at.
They did not request any changes this year unless you want to address,
For what? associate judge, child support judge.
This budget remained the same, basically that's postage.
CPS. Same thing.
Yes, except I did ask them if we could request money for bailiff. Generally speaking, they use additional bailiff, but they have had 2 or 3 times where they had to bring in an outside person to be their bailiff.
Oh, really? Gosh, I know one that just walks around the courthouse a lot. You could do that.
So Judge Baker, he's paid.
I will. I would certainly do that. What? Yeah, page 8.
I thought we were paying, we didn't have to pay anything. Is this that position
Yeah.
where we weren't, you know how we always get, you're not paying anything, and then we get to see what that looks like.
And like I say, unless there's not another bailiff available or a court reporter, we have had some court reporter fees. If our staff is not available, she does have to bring in a third party.
See, that was the deal, though. They told me, you don't have to pay for a bailiff or we use the district courts people at all times for that.
It's not happening for her.
Well, I will certainly be glad to talk to her about the bailiff, but I'll see. He's available all the time.
So we want to pull that out, leave it in.
Leave it or take it out?
What would be left?
2,000.
Take it out. So they're asking for some office chairs and a sign on the door. Can we not, oh, we took that out already.
It's not in there, there's no, non-capital, right?
Right, but those are small enough dollar items that we cannot for stationery.
Yes.
Oh, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, okay, okay.
We'll have a chair and,
A sign on the door that says no exit or something, just
No
easy.
damages on
Sanders' office can do that.
well, none of those chairs from the auction list that we, the surplus list that we approved today.
Shape three.
I don't know.
That's
That's our, yeah,
I don't know.
that's what you got yours. I don't know what condition
Make
they're in.
arrangements, I don't know what we have over there. We just had an auction, so.
Could we check on it maybe and then hold that until tomorrow?
What kind of chairs are they using?
Just office chairs?
2 office chairs.
I just sent one back to y'all.
Okay. I have one, maybe that one work. And
What
who's
about
the
the
sport
signing? Is that something we can make?
Seriously, yeah, we can do that. Sanders.
Sanders doing that, okay. I don't know what the, this doesn't have a breakdown of the price, this one knows. So should we just take it out for now until we know?
Yeah.
For the chairs?
Like I said, I just don't know what kind of condition they're in. I know, was yours pretty good?
Uh-huh. Just didn't like me.
They may not like it.
No.
I was like, oh.
No, I gave my old one to Shannon, she, and he returned Shannon's in.
Cause usually when we get them, they're not very good condition.
But there's one for sure, so we'll just check maybe.
Okay, moving on. County Court Line number 1. There's no change, right?
I did move some funds around to make the state supplement match what we're actually receiving, but that would make a lot of money.
Those are monies that you take in and give back or pay out.
Same thing for Pamela, she didn't ask for any changes either.
Correct.
Okay, JP1. A little bit of, just a few increases, but not, oh, no?
Probably just in retirement.
Yeah, no, I don't see any difference. You? Okay. What about JP2? Same thing? Same thing on all JPs? Gary still here? Page 94, county attorney. So you have a setup for a new position?
Yeah,
Is that position
that will
not
only
from the
if the grant comes through.
If the grant comes through?
Yeah, so that's conditional. So if the grant and all that goes.
Have we budgeted the full amount, right, Karen, because the grant will come back?
Right, and I do have it in both sides, the revenue and the expense.
Do you have, the revenue on both sides and the expense for Constable Travis Carr?
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Are you at capital, some additional laptop or?
So you're getting 8 new ones?
Yeah,
Right.
that's, yeah. But otherwise, you know, I try to stay the same. Once they, any kind of raise it, just try to stay the same.
It's the mandated longevity. Is that something the state has done to us?
Yeah, yes, it's for lawyers who, stay in county service longer than 5 years. It's a pass-through, it's collected through bail bond fees, and we have to remit it to the state kicks us back money, and we have to roll that in for lawyers.
So it's another pass-through, it's not
Yes.
the money that we.
No, it's a pass-through.
We pay the benefits on it, they pay the actual.
They'll let us stay.
Yeah, you don't love
I don't trust it.
Me neither.
No.
And now they're back,
Yeah, it's
back on,
actually-
just getting ready to do it to us.
Force us to. But still.
Just getting ready to go.
Do what? Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so anything else, Scott?
No.
So Carrie, all these, in the check fund and all that, you have the salary increase in there. Is that right?
Judge, before we move
Yeah.
on that, Carrie, the software maintenance on that, the 35, that's the share between Scott and.
Prosecutor.
Okay, that's the
Right, take care of prosecutor.
Okay. And you don't collect any fees or funds to offset that one?
Not right now. I've looked around for any kind of statutory authorization. Of course, we get in trouble if we collect any money that we don't have a statutory authorization for. I haven't found any yet. But maybe the special session will grant us some.
Yeah, don't hold your breath.
Yeah.
Thank you for certainly pass that.
This morning in our meeting about the magistrate's firm, that we have to put that money in what, which budget.
I think maybe general judicial, since it serves all courts.
General.
Yeah, let's be sure to add that into something. So, I'm asking about the check fund, what is that exactly? Salary assistance that went way down. Where did that one? Page 96.
Can't see anymore.
98. Went from 73 to 20.
Oh.
This is what the proposal is about. And it's just because we're not.
Yeah.
funding that position.
Right, we're not, yes, we're essentially down a position, we're not
Oh, okay.
because it's checks and
Okay, thank you.
they're
Okay.
kind of going away.
Yeah, they are.
And completely, it is, at least in Potter County, there are still people who recognize that you can't kite a debit card.
Yeah. Yeah, there are some people that are finally realizing that.
Yeah.
Well, so Scott, a lot of your employees up there are funded from the hot check fund, right, or just one employee?
One.
Just one?
Yeah, just one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens if that goes away?
Then
I mean, what
that
do you
goes
do
away.
with that staff if they do what?
Well, I mean,
Always be a fee for that?
we're trying to keep an eye out on what the new financial crime will be and how that will work, and whether we're gonna need similar kind of staff to keep track of that. We'll still find ways to, or for lack of a more diplomatic way to put it, screw merchants out of money. And so we've got to try to stay on top of that. But yeah, as it is, until the legislature gives us another way to pay for it,
Yeah.
we'll be out of luck.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, we're not gonna do, DA's not here. So I guess we'll come back. General judicial expenditures, you wanna go there real fast? Mary?
And this is where I would recommend putting in that $10,000. I'll choose to run the magistrate.
What's it? 116. Oh. Did you hear 160?
16?
160.
Are we able to stay within that 2.2 million for court-appointed attorneys?
I did request an increase of $100,000 this year since they raised the rates during this year, the
District judges.
and that's going to cover us, but it's probably gonna take a little bit of it.
Yeah, they just decided they'd raise the rates.
We don't give anybody back.
They could do well this. I thought that if there's any medication, it has to use the balance somewhere else.
Scott, they have the authority to do that, for district judges?
What's that?
Raise the rates for defense attorneys.
Like you would think
Yeah,
that would be a little bit of a
essentially, yes.
conflict.
Yeah.
Interest.
The short answer to that question is
They
yes.
don't have to come through the court to do that.
Yeah, well,
I remember getting a letter, them saying they wanted to raise it, et cetera, but
Right.
we didn't take action on it.
yeah, I mean, obviously, what winds up being set up is a showdown, between the commissioners court and the district judges. The judges have plenary judicial authority to set the rate that they pay for lawyers. Whether somebody could mandamus this court, pay for it, there are courts have come down both ways on that. But as far as what the rate is, I think most courts would say that this court is a legislative body, which is what you're sitting as right now, setting the budget. It's a separation of powers problem to tell the court what kind of fee they can set.
So that means they can.
Remember when I started, I said short answer, yes.
So we can't dispute that.
You can, but it'll probably ultimately be, will likely wind up in litigation. I remember we had a little issue with the juvenile court a few years back, and that was bad mojo. Yeah.
My question is, how are they vetted? Say someone comes in and says, I can't afford an attorney, well, who looks in their finances and say, well, no, you can't afford an attorney?
That's a great question. I can tell you, we don't. We've been it's been suggested a time or two that we do it. I'm not interested in doing that. That'd be a bad role for us. We're a prosecutor. And it's supposed to be the court that does it. Now, a few years ago, we had Rhonda doing that. But since then, my understanding was a few years back, the court said, we will do it. We'll take care of that. Now, how active they are in doing so, I can't really speak to. I think some, and to be fair, I think some judges probably are more diligent about that than others. I think some of them actually do make some inquiries. some of them maybe not so much.
Well, I know on the cremations, they have to come in and fill out a form and read to us that they've been.
Right.
So.
And it should be a very similar process.
Yeah.
Because the statute talks about what the court can consider and what can't consider making an indigency determination. So, I mean, there's essentially a checklist in the statute that they're supposed to look
Thanks. Okay, there's nothing in indigent defense. What about forensic? Need to talk about that at all?
What, forensic?
Forensic lab? What's next? There's no
Where will the DPS is no longer gonna be
Yeah.
giving us, free
Free blood test.
testing, so does that have to come from the sheriff's office then?
No, I have to come from
Not
one
from
of
your
your.
budget.
Yeah, either him or us. Yeah.
But the local jurisdictions have to pay for it. No,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's another mandate.
Yes, it is.
We just got that Friday,
Yep.
and it'll go in effect in September first.
Yep.
One other thing that we want to just note about, the sexual assault exams and bridge, the cost of doing the bridge is gonna go up, and I don't remember, Scott, do you remember how much that's?
I do not.
But we will have a revenue to offset it, so once I have a chance to figure out how much it will go up, you'll see a change in. how much it will go up.
Okay, I think we've probably hit a good stopping point, because, the next one, I think that Sheriff is grinning at me, he would love to talk about, we ain't got time to do today. And ain't nobody got time to do today. So, we'll just recess until tomorrow morning at 9. You're not gonna be here till at 9, will you?
I won't be here till after one.
After one.
Let's see. We're almost done.
I know.
And when will Melinda be here? That's questions.
We also have a
Right, so I don't believe there's any, what about Randall? Where's he? Did he call you, contact you at all? Do y'all wanna convene at 9, or, I mean? I'm chair. We have the district attorney, sheriff, fire rescue, CACD, extension, elections, and information. That's it.
Well, we also still need to talk about the insurance.
I can be here by 11:30.
11:30? Okay, well, let's start at 9, we can get through these other ones. Sanders out of town. And Melinda is out of town, so we can't do anything else.
And representatives from their office that might come in, help us out.
No. No, it's okay, we'll start at 9, we'll recess till 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay? Thanks, everybody.